You can find the courage to do hard things. You totally have that inside of you. When you have challenges in front of you, like we all do, that feel insurmountable, there's always a way through the muck. And oftentimes it's courage that's the magic sauce that you really need. Uh, Footnote, courage is not going to feel normal. Courage is not going to feel comfortable in the beginning because if you haven't been using your courage for a while, the muscle has gotten really weak. Kind of like if you quit working out for a while during the holidays and it's like the first day you get back to your workout, you're like, this is so hard. I'm so out of shape. And so that courage is a muscle and it can get out of shape. It can get really weak. But once you begin using it, like really using it, it's so liberating and the muscle does get stronger. Again, you can build that muscle. And before long, you're going to begin doing things and accomplishing things that you had previously just been sitting on the sidelines dreaming about and feeling like those things were a pipe dream. Actually, I hate that phrase, pipe dream, because I feel like all dreams, I feel like most dreams are attainable. But I want to share this story, this personal story of when I was a little girl. I was probably about 5 years old, and my dad was in the construction industry. He worked for this great company, Tao Ono, and the whole company went on. They rented this uh, place on the river in New Braunfels, and we were going to go tubing. And so we spent the first night there, and it was just amazing. As a child, I was just like, all these great people around me. And my sister and I were running around, getting in the water. And then we spent the night. And the next day was the big day. It was the day that we were going to go tubing. So we get all our stuff together. And of course, we're wearing little vests because we're little girls. And I'm looking at the water and I'm looking at people in the water. And granted, I had never been tubing before. So I'm like, okay, my heart just jumped. This looks intimidating. This is a little girl's brain, right? Because I'm seeing the water. It is uncharted territory. Like I've never done this before. And so we get all geared up, we get in the water, and everyone that's going tubing, we're all lined up together. Everyone's touching each other's inner tube in a line. So it's like we're all going to go together through the first set of rapids, right? And we're in the water, we're going, it's fun. It's everyone's getting wet and splashing, having fun. And then we hit, at first we just hit a few little rapids, like warming up. It's like, oh, okay, how do you go through this? And I was going through the rapids. And then we approached this, rapid that was a lot bigger. And I'm watching it and I'm like, holy shit, what's happening? We're about to go over this rapid. And we went over the rapid and it was like so extreme. I got disconnected from the loved ones whose inner tubes I was holding on to, right? And it was this moment of panic. It was like, oh shit, I don't know where I am. I'm like under the water and then popping up because I had the vest on, of course, but it was like, where is everybody? I can't find anybody. I don't know how to find them. What if I'm lost? I could die. Like, human survival, right? That's what my little brain was going into it. But then, like any human that wants to survive, like I found a way. I found my people. I looked, I listened, I found them. I swam to them and found them and got back with them. And it was so funny because the first person in the group that I found, I like grabbed onto him. And these were all very kind people that our family knew as family friends. But Charlie was the name of the man who I was the first one I grabbed onto. And he became like my BFF for the rest of the tubing trip. But, it was fun after that. And it was like something got ignited in me when I went through that and then found my tribe again. And it was like, I knew that I had actually just done, and this is a lot of subconscious processing at the time, but now looking back, I can see that I knew I had done the hardest thing that could be done in that situation. I had gotten disconnected from the grown-ups. We need those grown-ups for our survival. And I had found my way back to them. And it ignited this confidence in me. It's like, I can do this. I can fall off and then find my way back. I can find my way back and I'm okay. And now it's fun again. So it really was gaining a sense of strength. I gained a sense of strength. And what I was doing is I was building that courage muscle, right? And then it's like once you go through an experience of using your courage, whether you're consciously trying to, or in that case, I was just like forced to use it. But when you start using that muscle, again, kind of like when you get back to your workout, it's like, oh, I got a little muscle there now. And then your body stores every experience, everything you've ever seen, heard, or experienced. It's all in your subconscious. So now it's like somewhere in that system, it's like, oh, I can do hard things. I have a memory of that one thing that I did that was really hard, and I overcame it, and I championed it, and I did it. So I just want to say to you today that you can do hard things. And this is true in business, especially. And about 5 years ago, another example of this, about 5 years ago, I guess, I was praying and meditating in my business. Like, God, what would you have me, who would you have me be? What would you have me do? And I was really soul searching and looking for direction. And I'm just in that meditative place, receptiveness, right? And I heard the word speak. And I heard like, get in front of people and speak. And my conscious brain heard this message, a spiritual message, and it was like, F no, I'm not going to do that. Because immediately, like my whole body recoiled. My whole body recoiled into like, okay, that sounds like about as much fun as jumping into the ocean with sharks. And that's actually that's the kind of fear that a lot of people associate with speaking. And I was just like, F no, I am not going to do that. But then I thought about it. And this applies to you too, right? It's like you can ask yourself these questions in your business. And this applies in life too. Anything that's challenging in your life right now. So you can ask yourself these questions. You can first ask, do I want my next level? And in business, this applies to business. This could be if you're looking for your soulmate, if you're dating and you're looking for your soulmate and it's really challenging. It could apply if you're trying to learn something new, like paddleboarding or painting. It could apply to, creating a family. It could apply to getting to your next financial level. It could apply to anything. But you ask yourself these questions, right? And you're like, do I want my next level? Do I want this thing that I've been dreaming about? Do I really want it? And your answer is going to be yes. Yes, I want the thing. Why do you think I've been dreaming about it? Why do you think it's always bubbling up? Yes, I want it. And so when you can just own that feeling of, yes, I want this thing, that's your first signal that you're going to have to ignite your courage. And then the next question you can ask yourself is, do I know the next step? And I would say 99% of the time with my clients, they know the next step. It's not about knowing the next step. I mean, sometimes, yes, they need a little coaching to get clarity, but oftentimes they know the next step. It's just they're so freaking afraid of taking that step. So if you've asked yourself, do I want my next level? And it's yes. Do I know my next step? And it's yes, I do. Then you have to lean into, am I willing? Am I willing to take that next step? Because you have to be willing to tap into your warrior side. And if you think about a warrior, I just think of, like all the inner guides inside of me. I have my higher self, I have my inner child, I have my CEO of my business, I have the creative, I have the mama, I have the wife, and I have a warrior. And I have a couple of names for her. One of them is Boss Bitch. One of them is Athena, right? Different aspects of that part of me. And it's like you have to tune into that warrior side of you And it's like you have to be Athena for a second. You're going to go into battle. And you're really going into battle with your fears, right? But you have to put that gear on, put your protective energy on, get any weapons you need to go into battle, things that are going to make you feel safe. And I don't mean truly weapons like, guns or knives or stuff like that. I don't mean that. I mean, like, what do you need to go into battle? And so, like, I learned with the speaking, for example, oh, I need to really practice this beforehand, in front of friends or in front of the mirror. And that's one of my tools. Uh, that's one of my tools that I need for battle, because then I feel more prepared, right? But so you're putting this gear on, you're preparing for the battle. And then the hardest part, and I even struggled with this with getting, my weekly teachings going in the podcast, is like, the next step is you have to actually do it. You have to go forward. And so, like, the thing that you're so, so afraid of doing, I promise you that actually doing the thing is not nearly as scary as what you've built it up to be in your brain. And so the anxiety leading up to it, that's just eating away at you. Oh my God, this could happen and this could happen. All these negative things could happen. Like, that anxiety is way worse than the thing that you could just do, right? And that's when I was like, okay, I'm just going to effing start speaking, and I'm just going to do it. And so you really do have to be willing to fail forward. And but I want you to know that after you've done it, there's always a reward. There's always a reward. um you can't control the external rewards, but you can control the internal rewards. And I always tell my clients that are coaches that are learning how to get more and more enrollment calls and go through more and more enrollment calls, I'm like, when you have done the enrollment call in a really courageous, confident way, whether the client says yes or no to working with you, that's not in your control. But just doing the enrollment call, that's the championship. That's where you can get the medal. That's where you get the internal medal. It's like, I did it, right? And so with the speaking, my internal reward was like, I got to teach today. I got to impact someone. I got to know that I am courageous. I got to know that I don't have to sit on the sidelines and wait anymore. I got to know that I can be proactive. I got to feel my life going forward instead of dreaming on the sidelines with anxiety, right? And so there's so many internal rewards that you can open yourself up to. And that really needs to be focused on when you're doing something courageous, because again, there's always an internal reward that you can take in and accept and give yourself credit for. But yeah, once you've done it, you know your strength now. And guess what? It's going to make you even stronger, because now you're building that muscle. But it's like, now you know of your courage. Because before, you might have felt like, I just don't have courage. I'm just always going to be stuck here. And we can go in that definite downward spiral of self victimization and waiting and anxiety, and just as it gets so, so negative and heavy. So I'm just like, just go for it. Just do it. Just do the thing you're afraid of. And like I said, you don't have to do it perfectly. In fact, you can't even do it perfectly, anyways, right? Like, let go of perfectionism. And that's what finally came to become my motto when I was doing speaking, because the fear still would come up every time I would speak. But I was learning the tools inside myself of how to handle the fear. And so what I started as my motto is like, if I can change one life today, because see, I remembered in my mind and in my heart the pain of not having done the money work, and the pain that I had experienced of, feeling that anxiety at waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning with money anxiety. I knew that pain. And I knew that through doing the work, the money work for years and years, I knew that I had championed that anxiety. And I knew that I was sleeping through the night for the most part. And I knew that my finances had finally gotten in order. And so that became my motto, is like, if I can change one person's life today by getting up here and speaking and sharing my story, then I'll do it. And so it's really like whatever you have to tell yourself to get out there and do it is really what needs to be constantly going through your brain. And again, you don't have to do it perfectly. That's one of the reasons I love painting, right? And abstract painting in particular, not realistic painting, because that's a different story. But I love abstract painting for that reason, because um, I learned a long time ago that painting was the one place that I could explore freely, and there were no rules that I had to follow, and I was always doing it right. And just doing it, the experience of doing it is what fed me. And I knew it didn't have to be perfect. This is actually a reason why a lot of my clients like the painting process too, because it opens up that part of us where we're like, I'm just here for the ride. Like, I'm here for the experience of moving the paint around and letting it flow. And so, what if that was the new go to for the things that you were afraid of? What if you were able to initiate your courage enough just to get in the arena, just to get the first step done, just to step forward a little bit, and just to experience the thing that you know you need to do, but you're so afraid of, right? And so I'm not saying that you have to jump in 110%. Like, I wasn't immediately going for a TED talk, right? I was speaking to local groups and small circles. And so it doesn't really matter where you start. What matters is that you care about yourself enough to not be willing to be on the sidelines anymore. And I want to initiate that inside of you today. You don't have to be willing to sit on the sidelines anymore. You don't have to make yourself go into that negative spiral anymore of anxiety about wanting this thing but being so afraid to go for it. You can get in the arena and you can begin playing with it and experimenting with it. And that courage can help you. The courage can help you. It's a very fiery energy. And that's why I wore my red today, and my tattoos out, because I wanted to feel my courage as I recorded this. And, those are some symbols of that courage, and my Athena boss bitch inner guide. So that's it for what I wanted to share with you today about courage. And I hope this ignites a lot of fiery courage inside of you.